Yo, still Bills, what's the deal, man? We midweek with it. Someday, you know, we know how the story go, man. But peep game, I want to talk about something, right? And that's Jerron Boots and these tune-ups that he that not allegedly, but he needs to feel acclimated to the 154-pound division. Listen, man, I'm not partial to the dude getting a couple of fights in, or even at the very least a fight in to acclimate himself to the new division, because I do feel like he's gonna need it. Because he's not going, just Boots. I think it's proven by now that he's not who y'all were projecting him to be, at least as of now. He's not the second coming of Roy Jones Jr. He's not none of that. He's a talented young fighter who still needs to be polished a little bit. And I don't think ain't a goddamn thing wrong with that, man. Everybody can't come out and be this exceptional talent that needs little work. Everybody can't be that. Everybody can't be that star child. Everybody can't be that prodigy. Everybody can't be that. Some people have to actually go out and work for it. Everybody can't just be that young phenomenon. Everybody can't be that, and that's okay. You dig? That's okay. This is why I get aggravated when niggas try to push this narrative that he's the boogeyman and everybody running from him and what he'll do to everybody else because of they feeding, you dig, they feeding scraps to the wolves or whatever, man. That shit bothers me. So he's been in the ring and he's shown that there's vulnerabilities there that need to be tuned up, and that's okay. But he knows he needs a little bit more work. I think it's not even I know he knows that he needs a little bit more work. He knows that. God damn it. All right, let's make this light. He knows that. He knows he needs a little bit more work, a little bit more polishing, and he knows, man, like I'm gonna lose up here eventually to one of these dudes. So yeah, I'm gonna need tune. I need to get acclimated to this weight. This ain't no division that I can just jump up in and play in. So I'm not mad at him, man. A lot of people was, mad at him. But a lot of the niggas who's mad at him is the niggas who was swearing that he is the second coming of Crawford, the second coming of Roy Jones Jr. So when you put them level of expectations on the motherfucker, you ain't patient enough for them to go and get no tune-ups or nothing like that. You want them to jump right into the crock pool. He's not the guy to jump in there. He ain't Steve Irwin, you dig? He's just not. And that's okay. That's okay. So I was hearing, the dude that he's finna fight now, the Portuguese cat, I just went and looked at some footage from him last night, man. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it, man. We gave Virgil grace. Virgil had 2 fights with 2 welterweights. Yeah, 2 fights with 2 welterweights. I wasn't mad at that. Like, yeah, man, he needs to get acclimated to the division. Now, granted, his situation was different. So you can't necessarily compare the two, because what Virgil was dealing with was health. His literal health was on the line. So, all right, cool, that's understandable. But nonetheless, we did give him grace. We did allow him to go up there and get acclimated to the division. What the fuck are y'all doing? Damn. We gave him that grace. Give Boots that grace. I don't see how that's an issue. So let him fight this dude and get his going and whatever the fuck ever. But what the problem is, the problem lies is you was trying to pull up the Ramos that we thought you was trying to fight was Jesus. And I thought that was just too big of a step for it to be your welcoming fight into the division. But I wasn't mad at it. I was like, I could salute some shit like that. You jump right up in there and fight with a contender. I can salute that, man. Hey, do your thing, bro. Do your thing. I would prefer you to get a tune-up in, but whatever the fuck ever. If you feel you comfortable enough to go up in there and rumble with a dude who's a legitimate contender, then he's been in with some reputable opposition. All right, cool. Go ahead and make that happen. But come to find out, it was his uncle who's a welterweight. And a welterweight who had a draw with Mario Barrios, bro. And you tried to pull a tank and pull him up. That's unacceptable, my man. Like, this is where you gotta get, this is where motherfuckers gotta start cutting you up at, because you keep doing game goofy shit like this. Y'all keep trying to run game. I don't like that shit. Like, man, just getting that. Like, I was on Nuke's channel, and shout out to the IBFP, shout out to the panel, my homies Clavo, Cream, Ashy, shout out the homies. Brim, shout out to homies. Round One, Edgar, shout out to all y'all. Hit Kids, shout out to all y'all. Even Solidus. But people keep running with this game that just that people are comfortable to be being psyop when it comes to their favorite fighter or a fighter that they're pulling for. They're comfortable with the psyop. They're comfortable with staying behind that that smoke screen. They're comfortable with that. They cool with that. So they'll justify some shit like this. You don't pull up jumping up to fight a dude in a division that you just left is pointless, bro. How is that helping your plight? How does that? I don't get how y'all think that would be a logical step for him to make. Jump up to fight a dude to fight a dude from a division that you left. It just doesn't make sense why you would do some shit like that. You don't jump up and fight a dude at junior middleweight who's a welterweight. Like, why? That serves no purpose to what you're doing. Why? Because the punching power that man is gonna be. This dude couldn't down Mario Barrios. We have no doubt in our minds what Jaron Boots Ennis would have did to Mario Barrios if they fought. But you're gonna go up there and fight a dude who fought Mario Barrios to a draw? Like, it just don't make no sense. It makes no sense. And I'm not, I don't know how people are. It seems to be, it seems people are more mad about the Portuguese cat that he's fighting as opposed to him doing that shit. I'm not mad at this dude that he's about to fight, but the fact that you would even send Abel a fucking offer to fight you at 154 pounds is just something that I can't get jiggy with. Why would you do that? Why would you do, just sit there and play in our face like that, man? Like, motherfucker, like, come on, man. You don't sit there and really play in our face like my nigga, you really finna fight a welterweight at 154 pounds. As you convincing everybody you need a tune-up. And I want to be diplomatic and give him grace because Virgil did the same damn thing, but Virgil's situation is a little bit different. It is a little bit different. And once again, when people put these expectations on you, you don't get the luxury of doing what your contemporaries did, who they swear that your leagues above. So you don't get to pull up no motherfucking welterweight and fight him at junior middleweight. You don't get to do that. Not as the second coming of Roy Jones Jr. No, you don't get that luxury. You're not as the anti-Crawford. No, not as the dude who would have stopped Crawford. Not as the dude who Bud ran from the division from to go fight. No, you don't get that luxury, my nigga. You don't get that luxury. You get to stay your ass. You get to jump up and fight the niggas in that division. You don't get to do what Virgil did because let your fans tell it. Virgil doesn't belong in your league, and you stop Virgil. Virgil can't make the adjustments necessary to neutralize that of a Jaron Boots Ennis. So you don't get to do that shit. So I'm glad you definitely did decide to go in the other direction. I'm glad a lot of people was trying to blame Eddie Hearn for this shit. Trying to find a way to place blame at the feet of Eddie Hearn because he ain't fighting the motherfucker that y'all. Listen, man. Eddie Hearn, it's logical, smart matchmaking. I'm not mad at it. I'm not. Y'all have to give him all. Y'all gotta give a nigga grace. Y'all gotta give a nigga grace. And the dude is telling you, I need a tune-up. I'm not mad at that. Most fighters do not jump up to a new division and go straight for the wolves in that division. They just don't. Everybody ain't Bud. Everybody can't do that. Canelo didn't do that. Andre Ward didn't do that. Motherfuckers need to go through them, they need to go through them steps, because if you can't deal with a contender or a gatekeeper in the next division, you damn sure ain't gonna be able to deal with a motherfucking champion. I'm not mad at it. I'm glad that he chose this dude as opposed to choosing Abel, because that was an egregious thing to do. Why would you even entertain sending this man an offer to fight you as a junior middleweight when both of y'all were at welterweight just this year? It makes no sense. So I'm not mad at it. I'm glad he went in the other direction, man. But from here on out, you can't do this goofy shit no more, bro. You can't do this goofy shit. And if Eddie Hearn did that for you, which I'm sure he did because that's the money man behind you, then that's a shame on him. That's a shame on him. Because he should know better. Because you're his fighter. He's promoting you. And he has to have your best interest at heart. And your best interest at heart is not getting in there with another welterweight when you're jumping up to junior middleweight. That shit will sully the fuck out of your reputation. You'll become like, man, I'm cool on Boots. You'll have no support outside of Philadelphia. So shame on that man for doing that shit. Shame on him. Eddie, you know better than that. You know better than that. For all the, as stomped down as you are with your matchmaking, you would do some shit like that, man. You the same dude who sold, who fed Joshua to Usyk, as you should have. Because, bro, shit, man. If I'm getting, I gotta know. I gotta know that I can trust my asset. I gotta know that I can throw you in there with the wolves, and you gonna come out in the mink coat. You dig? I have to know that. So I'm not mad at you. I'm not throwing shade at you for doing that. I think that's the dope thing to do. You can't do the Oscar De La Hoya thing and protect your fight. You can't do that. You got to let the kid walk. You got to crawl before you walk. You got to throw him into the deep end. I ain't mad at you for doing that shit, man. But you should. I don't know what would convince you that that was the right choice to make. Abel Ramos for fucking Boots? No, that shit ain't cool. Boots in there with Abel. No, not even Jesus, bro. Abel. No. What do you do, bro? Are you insane? Niggas is crazy, bro. No, don't do that. That's not smart. That's just bro. That's completely illogical. You don't put no dude in there like Boots, who y'all swear is the next coming of everything, with a dude in there with a dude at junior middleweight who was at welterweight with him just a year before that, who fought Mario Barrios to a draw. No. Oh my God. However, y'all got the dude that y'all got now, and I have no issue with that. This is a good fight for him. I don't want to say an acid test, but it is a good acclimation test. It's a good acclimation test. So I'm looking forward to this fight, man. I honestly am. I'm not mad at it. A lot of people got it. They in they feelings about it. Damn, that truck loud as a motherfucker, gang. But a lot of motherfuckers is in their feelings about it, man, because people just have this level of expectation out of Boots, and this is what. But usually the people who have these high expectations of him are people who put those expectations on him instead of letting that man be who he, blossom into the fighter that he will eventually become. So this is your fault. I have no skin in the game. I'm not the biggest fan of Boots, but I do think the kid is talented. Kid is talented, and I want to see him in there. I want to see him mix it up at junior middleweight with the rest of them dogs up there. But be mad at yourselves for the for the expectations, man. Be mad at for the premature expectations. That's y'all fault. Y'all have nobody to blame but yourselves. Let that dude blossom on his own. Let his work ethic and everything get. No, I'm taking it. I don't give a fuck. I gotta take it. I gotta get to work. Let that dude blossom. Let him become. Let him grow into that. Into those expertise. Into them expectations that y'all are trying to put on him. Let him grow into that. Do not. No, man. Just stop with the bullshit. Stop. Like I keep saying this. Stop preordaining these dudes, because they are going to let you down. They are going to let you down. Let them go through the ringer, hold them to a certain expectation, and when they don't reach that expectation, you give them constructive criticism. And see if they can, if they take in that constructive criticism. And because if they're taking the constructive criticism, that means they're listening to the people, and that means they're looking to make amends for what it is that they did, for wherever it is they failed you at. Those are the motherfuckers. That's how you're supposed to mold and groom a fighter. Don't just put, high level expectations on the motherfucker because you think he can beat this individual right here because you got a disdain for this individual. That's goofy. So shout out to Boots, shout out to Eddie Hearn for putting him in. I think this is the perfect opponent for Boots. To see where he's at in the division, if he can cut the mustard in any way, shape, form, or fashion, man. So shout out to Eddie Hearn, shout out to Boots. I'm glad y'all decided not to go with that Abel fight because that was egregious. But I fucks with this fight, man. I'll get with y'all later. Doses.